Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of a Hymer ML580. Starting, we'll walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first. So you've got your habitation door, which is sent on the central lock-in. So you'd lock it and unlock, or you can use the key manually. You've got the switch for your step here, so always retract the step before you start the engine. There is a button in the dash in the cab, just in case you forget. You'll just get a buzzer noise because it doesn't self-retract. You've got your weight plate sticker here, so gross vehicle weight, gross train weight, front and back axle, chassis number, Hymer build number. Got your full Omnistar awning, your two fridge vents. Behind the back driver's wheel is where your fresh water drain point is, which is your waste, sorry, not your fresh, it's your waste water. And to open that, it's in the garage. So going to the garage quickly, we'll come back to these. You've got your wastewater dump, so you just electronic switch, and you'll hear the motor there, but obviously there's no waste. But normally what you would do is on the way out of your site, you go over the drain and drain it off. You'll notice you've got two 230 volt plugs in there, some tethering points so you can move these along here to tie your load down. A Hymer bike rack, so wheels through here, tie your wheels down, and the arms for your crossbars, along with loads of storage. And in here you've got your fresh water drain off points. So you'll notice if you do 3/4 of a turn, it'll drain everything off, but it'll leave 20 litres in. If you do 2 turns to the left, it'll open the valve to allow all the water out if you're taking on contaminated water, or you drain it down for the winter where you want to make sure that no water's left on board the vehicle. And then if you close it fully to the right hand side, it is closed, and the valve is just there at the back here, and this is your fresh water tank. So like I was saying, all the way to the right closed, all the way to the left open, 1/4 of a turn to the left, it'll drain everything off. So if you've got a full tank and you're now ready to drive and you don't want to carry the extra weight, which is going to impact your payload, impact your consumption of your engine for diesel, you can let the water out and leave 20 litres left in, so that you can stop, use the toilet, or have a cup of tea. So if we come back to these points at the front here, you've got your mains hookup point. So this is how you'd hook your vehicle up if you were on site or you were charging it at home. So you get your hooker bleed, lift the collar, lift the flap on the van and slide it over. Hooking the vehicle up first, then the side, so that you're never walking around with a live lead. And then to fill the vehicle with fresh water, so I've shown you how to empty it in the garage. To fill it, just here, use your habitation key to unlock the filler cap. You can pop a hose pipe in there, so carry a hose pipe because it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites, and some hose pipe connections. Pop the hose pipe in there until it either overflows, which means you've got a full tank, or you can see on the control panel on board how much water you've got on board at any one time. Come around the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light and your reverse and rear view camera. Garage again, but this time you've got your LPG locker, and in here you've got 2 gas slow bottles. So the last owners put gas slow on, so this is a refillable system, and I'll show you how to refill it. So basically on the top of each bottle, so you've got a gauge of how much gas is in, so they're both half full. you'd go to your local LPG centre to fill it, and then once one bottle's empty, so at the minute it's on this bottle here, is the little diamond is pointing to this bottle, you switch it over to the back bottle, and then and they'll both fill together once you do go to the LPG centre and fill the vehicle. So this is known as your changeover valve, and then you've got a crash sensor here, so you need to just push this in if you've turned them off for 3 seconds, just to allow the gas back into the vehicle. And to turn them off, you turn this one here and this one on here, so you've got a plus and a minus. So always turn them off before travelling, but it does have a crash sensor if you forget. It is a safe system. And you've got a waste extension pipe, so the waste which is down behind the back driver's wheel, should you not be able to get close enough to the grid, you can connect the hose and then deposit the wastewater in the right point on the site. Going further along, you've got your LPG, so this is your little locker here, so you'll not be able to get the bottles out of there. So that's why you've got the section in the garage, but you can get your hand in to turn the bottles on and off. But you'll notice you've got a filler point here. So take the cover off, it's a bayonet fitting. You go to your LPG centre, you can get an app and download it and find your local LPG place that sells LPG. Put your connection on, turn the filler, pull the trigger back and press the dial on the display on the pump until simply it won't take any more, and that is your system full. In a system like this, it'll take about £40 to fill, but it's far cheaper than having conventional bottles. Here you have your cassette toilet, so again, opening it with your habitation key and ensuring that the blade isn't open, because that engages the mechanism. Right. Pull the green handle, slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've got a handle so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then empty, take the green cap off, press the green button at the back, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so put some water in and give it a rinse. And then you need to fill it back with chemicals, so you need to fill this cup or cap with 120 millilitres of green or blue, depending on what your site wants you to use. Pop it into the cassette and it's good to go back into the vehicle and be used. So you just slide it back in and wait for it to click, and once that's clicked in there, you'll notice, because you can't pull it back out, that's the cassette back in place. Truma vent for your boiler, so this just allows the fumes out when operating on gas. In here you've got some storage underneath the lounge, but this is where your solar panel regulator is, which is just wired through the electric block unit, which is the fuse board on all German vehicles. So you've got all your fuses, so if a fuse does blow, carry some spares. And then you've got your Truma frost control valve. So the Truma frost control valve opens itself at 3 degrees. So once the valve temperature gets to 3 degrees, it will open and release the water in the boiler. So your boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. Obviously in the winter you don't want the boiler to hold the water if you're not using it, and it's going to freeze overnight, because you could damage the boiler. So what you need to do is, it's explained here as well, so open the top, the button pops out and the water comes out the vehicle. That 10 litres is then draining out directly out underneath the vehicle. You leave that open during the time you've got the vehicle stood up. Open all your taps within the motorhome. Make sure that you've drained off your fresh and your waste. So your fresh through your garage, your waste from behind the back wheel and by the button in the garage, just to make sure that no water's left on board. And then last of all, you'll notice it's showing you another pipe to open, which is just this one here. further back, you just open that up, and again that'll start dribbling underneath the van, and that's just your lines, so your hot water lines, so any water that's sitting in there drains out as well. But that'll react at 3 degrees. If the button's not staying in because it's cold outside, a tip is put your space heater on first, which is your air-blown Truma system. Put the heating on first. In here it'll get nice and warm, that valve will get warm, and then you can shut it. But normally if it's done it itself, the diamond will stay in the same position, but the button will just pop out, so you just need to push the button in. If you've done it yourself, then of course you need to turn the diamond on the top and push the button in. But remember, drain your motorhomes off in the winter, because if you don't, it's not covered under warranty and it's a costly mistake to make. Underneath here, you've got your leisure batteries, so you've got 2 Varta batteries in there. One fully charged leisure battery, if you use it correctly, it'll last you 3 days. This van's got 2, so you can do 6 days of wild camping, if that's what you're planning on doing. And then lift the little cap up, which is just a catch to keep the door open so it doesn't bang you on the head when you're underneath there. Diesel for the Merc, again with the habitation key, you can open it and pop the diesel nozzle in there and fill with diesel fuel, and it's lockable, and you can't get it any more wrong than that because it says diesel, so don't put water in there. Battery for the Sprinter is underneath the cab. Toolkit, so it's underneath the floor, underneath the cab should I say. Toolkit's in there. Bonnet release is just here. Lifting the bonnet up, and then pushing this in here for it to clip into place. You've got your fluids. Michael. Hold it down. You've got your AdBlue, so with it being a new diesel engine, it's got AdBlue, which cleans your catalytic converter out at a certain temperature to stop the build-up of carbon. You'll get a light on the dash when this is needed, and you can simply buy it in the drums or buy it on the pumps, but please top that up when the light comes on, otherwise the vehicle can go into limp mode. Put your coolant, your brake fluid at the back, a positive terminal for jump starting, and then you would just earth off an earthing point, so probably that bolt there or the engine hoist down at the back. And the main one you're going to need, which is your screen wash, the engine oil filler, and your dipstick, which is just down here. To operate the Hymer control panel, so it tells you if you're hooked up here at the back of the vehicle and you're receiving 230 mains voltage. You turn on and off here, so that's your on off button, as well as your scroll, so you can scroll from the back of the vehicle and it'll tell you your leisure battery reading. Take the hook about to get a true reading of your leisure batteries as well as your engine battery, and then you scroll along and it shows you your fresh water reading. So we've got 100% of fresh water on board. It tells you your wastewater reading. It's not illuminated, so there's no wastewater on board. And then the battery at the front, which is your carb battery, again take the hook out because it's charging the carb battery as well as the leisure battery. If you take that out, you'll get a true reading of the batteries. To operate the Truma Duo C, so if you turn it to the bottom one, it goes green, which means that the bottle is open and the gas is coming through. If that was to go red, it means that the bottle is empty and you'd have to go and switch over to your other bottle. And then the top one, it just hits the regulator, so if you're away in the winter, it stops the gas from freezing and brings the gas through at a warmer temperature to be used on your gas appliances. So next to it you have your pump, so you can turn your pump on and off should you have enough water on board to use the taps, toilet and shower. And then beside it you've got your Hymer CP digital control panel. So to turn it on and off completely and the screen will go white, you just do a long hold on the button in the middle. Press it once and you get into the menu. So in the top left hand corner you've got a motorhome with a thermometer in. This is how hot you want the inside of your vehicle to be. So you can have it all the way off if you're away in the summer and it was warm anyway, or if you're away in the winter you can have it all the way up to 30 degrees. Once you are happy with the temperature you would press enter and that will preset the thermostat to the temperature you've selected. Moving on, you've got a water with a thermometer. This is how hot you want your water, so making sure that your boiler's closed and you've got water on board and you've primed your boiler. So you've got on off eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water, hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. So you've got 40 on eco, hot on 60, or boost, which will turn off the heating of the vehicle to heat the water first. So for this we'll just say hot, and then it's what source you want to be on. So you've got gas on its own. If you're wild camping, the only source you would have available to heat the water or the vehicle would be gas. Mixture of 750 watts of electric and gas on mixture 1. Mixture 2 is 1500 watts of electric and gas, so you'd use this if you're away in the winter and you're in desperate need of heating and hot water. Both sources together will reduce the time it takes to heat the vehicle and the water. And then you do have EL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and EL2, which is 1500 watts of electric. So if you were on a site you would just use EL2 depending on what the ampage the site gives you, whether it's 12 or 16 amp. The fan in the top corner is just a circulation fan, 12 volts. So eco takes a smaller feed of 12 volt and is a little bit quieter on an evening if you're sleeping with the heating on. High, obviously it circulates it at a larger fan speed, and then boost, it's flat out, it'll circulate the heat the best it can on full fan speed. So for this we'll just say eco, keep the noise down. Timer, so you can time it to come on and off. Clock on the main display panel, and then should you get a warning triangle in the middle you can go down to the spanner in the bottom right, go to reset, press preset, and it will restart the control panel. You'll have to go in and set everything up again. In the kitchen area you've got 3 gas rings. There you go, you've got 3 lit gas burners. Allow the burners to cool before you put the Dometic hob top down, just because it can shatter if it's too hot. Storage above, pushing the catch in to release the travel catch to open the doors, and ensuring that the pump's on, you'll be able to get a pressurized flow of cold and hot water. That's coming through warm there. Now you do have a mains plug and a 12 volt plug there, along with a rack for your dish soap, sponges, spices, condiment rack. Storage with gas taps, so there's 3 taps here. So it does your hob, your fridge and your boiler. So if you've got any problems with gas you can turn off the appliance that you think's faulty, or these are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced, turn the bottle off to be safe. Got another 3-pin 230 volt socket and your lights, so these are your kitchen lights. This one does that one there and that one does the one above and in the lounge. Storage with the waste bin, making sure that before you travel you push the buttons in to lock the doors in place, so that they don't come open when you're travelling. To operate your Thetford fridge with freezer compartment, so you turn on and off here by pressing and holding. That's it off. That's it on. A stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge picks out what best source is on offer at any one time. So you'll notice it's got the picture of the hookup lead. So we hooked up now, it knows not to waste gas, so it's gone to mains 230 volt. It'll act as a household fridge. If I was to take the hookup out, it would go over to gas and self-ignite. Or if I was to start the engine, it would go over to the 12 volt setting, which is just designed to keep the temperature of the fridge at the same temperature it was when departing, so it acts as a cool box. So if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, 2 days before you'll want to hook the vehicle up, pop your fridge on. Not only does the hookup give a chance to charge your batteries, but it cools your fridge down. Pop your shopping in the night before, allow that to chill, and then if it's on automatic, all you've got to do is simply start the engine, unhook the vehicle and drive to your site, and your shopping should stay nice and fresh until you arrive either while camping or on a site. But if you want to manually turn it over, you would press and hold the square button and move. Using the arrows you can move it, so mains power on its own, battery on its own and gas on its own. Press the square button. This is the temperature, 5 being the coldest, so when pre-chilling have it on 5. When you put your shopping in, just knock it down. But please note, with the automatic it takes 20 minutes before lighting on gas, because if you've left your gas open and you've knocked the engine off and you're filling with diesel, that's the last thing you want, is the fridge to be sparking at a petrol forecourt. So it waits 20 minutes before lighting, so if you're wondering why it's not lighting, just put it manually onto gas and then you can then go back to the automatic setting and it'll light on gas, as it won't find 12 volt or 230 volt hookup. When you're not using it, clean the fridge out, put this little blue clip into the centre. It'll keep the door open and stop the smells from forming in the fridge and give it air circulation, so that you don't come back to your van and you've got a funny smell. In the washroom, so you've got your shower. So when winterizing, when you drain the vehicle completely down, like I said, from outside you want to drain the boiler, the fresh, the waste, open all the taps. You also want to unscrew this shower head from this hose. As you can see, the hose could coil any water in there and leave the pipe dangling in the shower tray, so that any water drains off via the waste. You've got clips here to clip your shower screens back when travelling, just to stop them from rattling when on the road, and space for your soaps and shampoos. Toiletry cabinet. Put your toilet roll in there and feed it through the centre of the cabinet door, and that'll stop it from getting wet. I've got a service panel here, not that you need to be in, just got some wires in there in case you ever need those wires repairing. Light. More storage. Because Hymers are European, they put a socket in the washroom. Because this is for the English market, we can't, for our regs and rules, so that socket is disabled. And a operated toilet, ensuring that the pump's on. You'll be able to press the button here, which is your fresh water flush, and you'll be able to flush the toilet like so. So we always advise before use that you flush and put a little bit of water into the cassette. It keeps the seal between the top of the toilet and the cassette lubricated. And then you want to open the blade, which is this white handle here. So open it, stops the blade top from getting dirty. Use the toilet, flush after use, and then you want to close it. And then when you get 3 green lights on here, it means the cassette is full. If you did have the blade open, the cassette won't come out, And if the light stays on once you've emptied it, it's just because the float's stuck, which happens on all motorhomes and caravans. You just need to take it out and give it a good shake and put it back in, and then the light will go out. But remember, shut the blade after use, do it in that routine, and then when the cassette is full, you should never have to wonder why you can't get the cassette out and come running back into the van because you've left the blade open. At the back of the vehicle, you've got twin single beds. So your lights are here for your bedroom area. Got storage in the top lockers, remembering to press the button in the centre to open it up. Individual reading lights, so on all reading lights throughout the vehicle, there's 2 in the front as well. Press once and you get the night light, which is just the blue light. Press again and the main light will come on. And that's the same on this side as well. USB 12 volt to 30 volt mains power socket, and then you can pop your devices that you want to charge in here, which it's designed to be a magazine rack. You've got storage in the step for your shoes or other bits and pieces, and then access to the top of your waste pipe for just your waste tank, sorry, and your heating pipes and water pipes just for servicing if there ever needs to be checked. Wardrobe with hanging rail, which you can also access from the top here, like so, by lifting the section of the bed up. And storage in this side. So to operate the Truma Aventa air conditioning that's been fitted by the last owners, it's 230 volts, so you need to be hooked up for it to work. In the middle section cupboard in the bedroom, you've got a 230 volt fuse, so it's a fuse spur. Turn it on, and then you'll be able to point the remote to here, turn it on, go through your modes. So you've got cooling, and you can adjust the temperature with the plus and minus. So if you do take this van abroad with having air conditioning on, you should have a lovely cold van all the time to your temperature, regardless of the heat outside. We've got auto, or you've got recirculation. On and off in the middle, temperature mode, obviously recirculation, auto or cooling. Fan speeds, as you can see there, 1, 2 and full. And then you do have timers, so you can set timers. And you can turn the lights on and off via the light switch here. So to operate the Snipe 2 satellite dish, what you need to do is you need to press power and then OK, and it'll go through the tuner settings, and it's finding Astra 2 28.2, and you'll hear the antenna move on the roof. It's just here, and once it's locked on, you'll get a signal on your telly. So all you do is turn it on, it's a 12 volt in the top cupboard with a cigarette lighter for the telly. And then you'd press source, satellite TV, and once it's locked on, you'll get a picture here. Should you need to retune it, all you need to do is press TV setup, which is this one here. Go 3 down to the antenna, and then you want to search, and it'll find as many channels as it can once the satellite is locked on. So now in the cab, which is based on a Mercedes Sprinter. So you've got your mirror adjustment here, and that adjusts the 2 large coach style top mirrors. The bottom ones are blind spot, which needs to be manually adjusted. You've got heated mirrors, which is this switch here, and then should you get in the cab and it's beeping and the step's in, you can, instead of jumping out the seat, you can pop the step in via this button here. Headlight adjustment, and then lights off, side lights, headlights, pull it back for your fog lights to black, the windows out. You've got these screens here, and then the end is magnetic, so just rest upon the A pillar, and the same on this windscreen. So the windscreen ones, you just pull off as well, in the middle, same the other side, releasing the two press studs, and then they do just meet in the middle like so, and that would black out the cab on an evening. Rear view camera, which is on all the time. You can turn it off here if you don't want it on when travelling, but you can always see out the back of the vehicle, as well as when you select reverse, that'll come on as well. Limiter, so you can put, if you're going through an average speed camera zone, you can press it, the light will come on when the engine's running, and you'll be able to push it up and down. It'll tell you what it's limiting the engine to. And then, as it's a Mercedes, there's no wiper stalk this side, it's this side, so turn it back and you've got 3 stage settings, you'll see, and push it in for your screen wash. Volume, answer, decline a call on the radio, and then this side goes through your screen, so you've got your mileage there, your coolant temperature by just going up and down, your servicing, the oil level, or you can click this one and go to your audio. No messages, and then to reset you'd press and hold for 3 seconds to reset your trip computer. You can see your AdBlue level, your range, your fuel, how many miles you've done, so your trip computers, and that's all in there. But that's all explained in the handbooks, how that operates. Handbrakes down in the middle between the 2 seats, in the normal place a handbrake would be. Handbrake, automatic gearbox, so park, reverse, camera still comes on, down to drive, and then you can go left and right. Obviously left to drop a gear, right to come up a gear, but it's a Mercedes automatic, you shouldn't really need to do anything. If you're struggling, just put your foot down a little bit more to get up that hill, but Merc gearboxes are brilliant. 2 cup holders and a 12-volt point, 2 USBs, connections for your head unit. You can turn the radio on and off here. Obviously it'll work when the engine's on because it'll get the feed from the engine battery, but if you're on a site you can turn it on here and it'll work off the leisure battery, so it doesn't drain your engine battery. Oxy doors, ASR off, just press and hold, another word for anti-slip relief, so if you're struggling to get off that wet pitch or gravelled pitch, put that on and it should give you traction. Hazards, a paper clip, aircon, recirculation, where you want the air to go to, so your distribution, face, feet, screen, or a bit of both, and then your fan speed here, followed by the temperature that you want the inside of the cab to be. So So you can turn your head unit on here. So it's a DAB radio. And you press 1 to 6 to save your favourite channels. You can scroll through it just by here. So it'll scroll through them all, and then you can just hit the ones you want to save by just pressing and holding, waiting for the beep. And then if you wanted to connect your phone to it, it is Bluetooth, it's a Kenwood radio. So you're looking for, on your phone, go into your Bluetooth settings and you want to look for this little code here. It'll come up and that's the model number of the head unit. Pair with that and then you'll be able to press this button here and it'll access your phone book. But you've got to connect to it via your device first. You've got a microphone on the dash for your hands free, so if you do get a call you can just answer and talk. You've got a cup holder here, storage in the top of the dash, cup holder there, lockable glove box with the key. But what you need to do is you need to take the Sprinter key apart. So little tab here, lift this out, that'll be able to go into there and lock the glove box. That just clips into there and it'll go into the ignition and read the top of the key. And then finally, to turn your seats, I've got this little lever here, so one there, one here. You'll be able to spin them round into the rear of the motorhome. Should they get stuck, pull it forward and you'll be able to spin the seat round into the back of the van when you're on a site.